The sooner you realize that nobody owes you anything, the better your life will get faster. The world doesn't owe you anything. Your parents don't owe you anything. Your brother, your sister, your wife, your girlfriend, nobody owes you anything. Your job doesn't owe you anything. Your school, nobody owes you anything. And it's time that you realize that. This self-centered thinking holds you back. It holds me back at times. It held me back for a long time. I want to tell you a quick story. I was at work. This was like 16, when I was 16 years old. And one of my buddies that I worked with, he was like, yo, Sid, what's wrong? Yo, Sid, what's wrong? And I was just kind of moping around. I was just kind of holding my head down, just in my feelings, right? Finally, the third time he asked me what's wrong, and I don't know what I said, but I brushed him off. And his response was very awakening. He looked at me and he said, you know what? F you then. If you want to act like nobody cares, then so be it. And I realized in that moment, dang, here I am moping around, thinking that I'm owed all of these things, thinking that, nobody really cares. So-and-so wasn't this, so-and-so wasn't that, life didn't give me this, so-and-so didn't do this for me. And here I have someone right in front of me who genuinely cares and is just offering an ear, offering a hand. Hey bro, you good? What's wrong? They can tell. And that's when I really realized nobody owes me anything. And I need to be grateful for those people who show up and genuinely care, genuinely show up for you, because the truth is nobody owes us anything. This life, bro, it owes us nothing. And what we think it owes us are actually what we owe to it. What we think we're owed is what we need to give. What we think we deserve is what we need to give. What we think is missing from our life is what we need to give. Who we think is missing in our life and what they didn't do and who they didn't show up as is who we get to show up as. It's who we get to be for ourselves. We get something out of blaming other people. We get something out of being self-centered. It's a habit. It's a childish habit. It's a boy-like habit to think that the world revolves around us, and yet that's how we grow up. And it gives us an out, right? If something is always somebody else's fault, that means that we don't have to change. That means that we don't have to grow, right? If it's their fault, if they didn't do something for us, then that's why we get to just be where we're at. That's why we get to stay stuck. That's why we don't have to move forward. And it's hard for me to see people that I've known from my childhood or from my past that have never really grown. They've never really become better because they're still hanging on to what someone didn't do for them. They're still hanging on to this victim mentality of like, well, my parents were this way and they didn't do this and they didn't give me that. And so that's why I'm stuck here. When in reality, you're stuck there because you keep making that choice over and over again. See, if it's always some other reason out there why we're not moving forward or why our life isn't a certain way, then we never actually have to be accountable. We never actually have to look at ourselves and become better and change. But if you clicked on this video, it's because you recognize that it's time for you to take responsibility for your life. It's time for you to take responsibility for how you feel. And there's three things that I think as men that we need to start taking responsibility for as soon as possible when we make that transition, when we're becoming better men. We need to take responsibility for our feelings, we need to take responsibility for our actions, and we need to take overall responsibility for our mindset. What is our mindset? Are we always being a victim? Are we always thinking that life is happening to us and we're just powerless over it? Right? Or are we becoming that version of ourselves that we would be proud of, that we admire, who recognizes that life happens for us, and no matter what happens in our life, we can take it and let it make us better. We recognize that all work works. If the thing that we're doing isn't working for us, it's working on us. This is a mindset. right? And we have to take responsibility for our feelings. No one makes you feel anything. No one can make you feel sad. No one can make you feel mad. That's something that happens inside of you. That's something that you have to learn how to control, something that you have to learn how to master. No one can force you to feel anything. You can look at something that's happening, unconsciously feel something, right? But that's happening in you, and you have a choice. You see, you have to take responsibility for that choice. Choose what you're gonna feel next. You see? And then our actions. I can't do the work for you. Trump can't do the work for you. God can't do the work for you. The government can't do the work for you. You got to do the work for you. You got to be responsible for your actions. Either you put the work in or you didn't. That's really all it ever comes down to. You either showed up or you didn't. You put the work in or you didn't. But when we're young, when we're children, when everyone is catering to us to grow us up, right? We can fall into this entitlement, and if we're not careful, not grow out of it. And so I remember when I was in the military and I had to learn another language, one of the most difficult languages in the world, by the way. I had to learn this language, and I almost failed out in the beginning. I almost failed out. All of these people, were excited for me to join the military and make something of my life and become a better version of myself and serve a greater purpose. And I almost missed the opportunity. Why? Because when I was told the language that I had to learn, I didn't want to learn it. I was still stuck in, it's all about Sid, it's all about me, it's all about what I want. Right? So I wasn't showing up how I needed to actually be successful. I didn't have a growth mindset. I had a this is happening to me mindset. Even after boot camp, I still had this mindset. That's how deep it can run for some of us. Right? Like, I don't want to make this video and make it seem like I'm preaching at you. I'm telling you, this is just what I've learned, and this is what I've had to grow through. And it wasn't until I recognized, you know what, Sid? It's not about you. And so you have to learn a language that you didn't want to learn. Get over it. Get over yourself. Recognize that you have an opportunity to put the work in. Recognize that you have an opportunity to do something that few people can say that they've done. Recognize that you have an amazing opportunity in front of you to become a rare man. So are you going to take that opportunity and put the work in? Are you going to be in your feelings and miss the opportunity? This is why it's so important to just get over yourself. This is why it's so important for you to stop always thinking about you. And so I had to stop thinking about me and I had to start thinking about, wow, I have a special opportunity in this skill that I'm getting right now, this opportunity that I'm getting right now, it's going to make a huge difference. Maybe I don't even know how right now. Maybe I don't even understand how right now, but I can tell you that learning that language, becoming disciplined as a man, up-leveling myself in that way, resulted in lives changed. Lives changed. And there's so many people, most people will never even know how. They'll never even know, the work that went in and who was behind it. But I can have a quiet confidence about myself. A quiet confidence about myself because I put that work in. Because I learned that language, I got those skills, and I showed up to work with the best version of me that I could bring in that moment. And that's where fulfillment comes in. Fulfillment comes in from getting over yourself. Fulfillment comes in from taking responsibility for your feelings, taking responsibility for your actions, taking responsibility for your mindset. So when I took responsibility for my feelings, got over them, I could start to be who I needed to become to be successful in that part of my military training and eventually my career, and then eventually in online business when I got out of the military, right? Taking responsibility for my actions, recognizing no one's coming to save me. When I get out of the military, no one's coming to save me. I have to put some new work in. I have to retool myself. I have to reinvent myself. I have to keep growing. I'm not owed anything. No one owes me anything. Yes, I may have served, 8 years in the military, and I'm still not necessarily owed anything. Right? You may have put a lot of years into something, to not have it play out or pan out the way that you wanted to. And guess what? You're still not owed anything. You may have given years to a certain relationship and maybe they cheated on you, or maybe they hurt you in some way or broke up with you, when you weren't expecting it. And guess what? You're still not owed anything. You see what I'm saying? You're not owed anything, but you do have a responsibility for what happens next. How are you going to let it make you feel? Or are you going to dictate how you feel? Are you going to let that situation or circumstance and how you feel prevent you from taking the necessary actions? Or are you going to do what you know you need to do next? When you stop expecting others to give you what you need or want, even, when you stop expecting life to just miraculously give you what you want, you're free to go get it. You're free to go create it for yourself. The fact is, nothing was ever stopping you but what's between your ears right here. That's the only thing that's ever stopped you from being truly fulfilled. That's the only thing that's ever stopped you from being happy. That's the only thing that's ever stopped you from being on your purpose. This is the only thing that stopped you from becoming better. You are free to go create what you felt has been missing from your life. You are free to go experience what you felt you were supposed to, but no one ever did or gave to you. You're free to go create that. Once you take responsibility, once you get over yourself, once you stop looking to be served and start looking to serve life. And how can you serve life? By getting over yourself and looking at, how can I contribute? How can I encourage? How can I inspire? How can I serve? What are the skills and the experiences and the things that I know that only I have that I can give to others and share with others? How can I even just give a smile instead of being sad and in my feelings about how I'm not getting what I want? How can I help someone else get what they want? You see, start serving life in this way and we end up more fulfilled. This isn't our default setting. It certainly wasn't my default setting, right? And I battled with depression. And every single time I felt depressed or anxious or sad, it's because I'm stuck thinking about me and what I want and what I think I deserve and how things aren't going my way. And that doesn't pay me, nor does it even make me happy. And so what we have to do as men is we have to take responsibility for our feelings, our actions, our mindset. We have to get over ourselves, and we have to realize that we're not owed anything in this life, but we owe so much. So that's my challenge for you. My challenge is for you to get over yourself. My challenge is for you to look at what's the mindset that you need to take responsibility for. What are the actions that you haven't been taking that you need to take responsibility for? How have you been feeling day to day? And is that how you want to feel? Or do you need to take responsibility for how you feel so that you can start to feel something different? Thank you for watching another video on the Becoming Better Men channel. My name is Sid Scott. See you in the next one.